Hello everyone and welcome to our White Hatter live show live stream. Sorry for the delay, we had some technical problems and I think we fixed them at this point.
Ghosties and Gobblies.
Yeah, ghosties and Gobblies.
Because it's kind of a Halloween kind of a show, right?
It is.
I mean, look at you. You got the Halloween tie.
I do.
We got a pumpkin.
Yeah.
We got what else we got on set?
Our social media coordinator Candace had decorated last night.
Yes.
Our set.
Look, spiders. I don't like spiders. Don't like
So yeah, welcome to our fall, October, Halloween version of the White Hatter live show.
Yeah, love being here, right? Love sharing the message.
Thank you for joining us, and we got a bunch of things we're going to talk about. Things that happened over the last month.
Yeah.
Things we thought that were interesting to share with you. Our
Absolutely.
perspectives on things, some stories, and all that lovely stuff.
But before we get going, how can people talk to us?
Well, because this is a live stream, live show, we want your input. We want you to ask us questions, and we'll do our absolute best to answer those questions. So you can connect with us here live in the YouTube live chat. You can connect with us on Twitter by tagging us or with the hashtag The White Hatter. Send us a direct message on Instagram or leave a comment on our events page on Facebook, which is @WhiteHatterTeam. Those are the ways that you can connect with us here in this live show. Ask us a question, and we'll do our best to answer it here in the show.
Because this is all about YouTube, and YouTube is about you, right? And a part of YouTube about the live stream is getting you involved in the what it is that we're going to be sharing today. So please don't be afraid to connect with us on those platforms.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do, Brandon?
Well, as we do in all our live shows, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with an update. We're going to talk about some events that have happened with us and things you might want to be aware of.
Yeah,
so,
very cool.
First update we're going to share with you has to actually be right here, which is here on YouTube. We are starting to now produce YouTube helpful tutorial and how-to videos on various privacy and security issues. And our very first video is Instagram privacy and security, which you can now watch here on our YouTube channel. I had a lot of fun doing that. Actually, when I was doing this, I actually had in the middle, I was just about to publish the video, and then Instagram had changed something in their settings.
Yeah, they updated everything, right?
So I was like, oh, great. So I had to reshoot the last part of it, but it worked out well.
Yeah, it did. And I think what's important too is it wasn't only you that just shot this, right? It was Candace. And by the way, Candace is working in the background right now. She's our social media manager coordinator. She's managing all the stuff that's going on. But she played a big role in creating this video too, didn't she?
It is. Just because you see someone on camera does not mean there's not a whole team behind helping produce what you're seeing right here even.
For sure. And again, for those people who are on IG, make sure you have a look at that video. I mean, you did a really good job, and it's probably the most current video right now because we look at them all online, specific to privacy and security settings on Instagram. And so, you know what? Congratulations on putting together a really good video.
It's a long video, but a very detailed video, so I highly encourage everyone to go take a look at that.
What else have we got?
Next on the list is a recent blog post that we produced. I mean, this month is the Cyberbullying Awareness Month, right? Or
in the United States, yeah. So this three-part article is an article I written that was specific to deal with cyberbullying here in Canada. We looked at the who, what, where, when, why, and how of what's going on, the realities, and what to be aware of, what to do. You know, we looked at U.S. statistics compared to Canadian statistics, and believe it or not, they're quite similar in nature. But I would encourage everybody on here, both parents and teens, have a read of the three-part series that they can find on our blog, which is on our website. And what's our website?
TheWhiteHatter.ca.
TheWhiteHatter.ca, right?
So we try to do blogs at least once a month.
Yeah, and there's a ton of other blogs on there covering a lot of stuff that we discuss in our presentations and here live, right?
Yeah.
So what else do we have on the updates?
That's all we have for updates in terms of slides. But I mean, I think you have a few things I want to share.
Yeah, I mean, the first update is about Brandon, right? Brandon doesn't like to blow his own horn, but you were just awarded your master's degree officially, weren't you?
Yeah, I got the notification earlier this week.
And what was your master's in again?
Professional communications. I specialized in how people use the internet and understanding things like phishing, manipulation, scams. So I kind of focused my degree on that area.
I mean, and that's no small feat, right? I mean, you're 25 and you just got your master's degree, and that was a couple of years of hard work, wasn't it?
Indeed it was.
Indeed it was, right? So, I mean, the other update that I have is this past month, you've done 2 virtual training presentations, right? One for an elementary school and one for an intermediate school. And you did it live online, interactive, right? So what was that all about?
Well, we actually did it here in the studio. I mean, we're really excited to be now starting to do our live White Hatter presentations for schools. I mean, here in the studio, we're broadcasting to almost anywhere in the world that has an internet connection. We can do a White Hatter presentation.
And it was really cool because I kind of was watching it. You know, the other school also had a camera and a mic set up so that you could have full interaction with the students, right? Which was really cool to watch how they were captured by it and stuff. So it was just a really cool way. And I mean, as a result of that, we've now got interest from a couple schools up in the Northwest Territories. I mean, one school that's connected with us from grades K to 12, they got like 25 students in total. That's it, only 25.
You can fit that in a single classroom of a single grade here in BC.
I know, like, but what a really, here's a really good example where they can't afford to bring us in because of where they're located, but they can beam us in live to get the same presentations that we do in schools. I mean, they are so isolated. The teacher that connected with us said, you know, Darren, the only way that we can connect is via satellite. So if it's a cloudy day, we may not be able to connect with you. But
we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, but you know what? If it's a cloudy day that day, we can arrange it for another day. But really excited about this whole virtual training thing that we're doing. And hey, by the way, hi to everybody who's just joining us here on our YouTube Live. It's great to have you here. The other update I have is, you know, as of this week, this week, you had 10 presentations on the Sunshine Coast, didn't you?
It was a fantastic week. I mean, anyone here from the Sunshine Coast watching, shout out to all of you. If you're from the Sunshine Coast, by all means, shout out to all of you. Leave a comment. But I mean, yeah, it was a fantastic week. I mean, I had 10 presentations, 8 schools.
We had 5, so the total for us as a company, we had like 15,
between you and I,
15 presentations last. So with that, we've now hit our 430th team. Like, we've now presented to over 430,000 teens from across Canada and the United States. I mean, how cool is that? Our goal is to hit 500,000 before the end of 2019 school year.
That's our goal.
I mean, and the other last update is, you know what? As a result of our presentations this week, we're involved in our 182nd intervention now, where a student reached out to us for help because they were considering self-harm or suicide as an option. And because of our presentations, they reached out to us. One student did, and a parent reached out to us too to help another student who was in trouble. I mean, how cool is that? Never in our wildest dreams did we ever think that our presentations and our company would become an outreach for young people and even adults, but it has. I mean, that's so cool. I mean, that's what's really kind of cool about what it is that we do. So that's my last update. But what's the next segment we got going on?
Next segment. Well, before we go there, again, for those of you who have just joined us, I mean, again, we want you to connect with us here on YouTube. Ask us questions, leave a comment. You can leave a comment in the chat feature. You can message us on Twitter with @WhiteHatterTeam or #TheWhiteHatter. Send us a direct message on Instagram with a question, or leave a comment on our Facebook events page for this particular event.
So don't forget to hit that subscribe button, right? And that little bell, right? What's the little bell do?
The little bell lets you be notified next time we upload a new video. And because we have a bunch of videos in the works on how to do certain privacy and security settings, I think those will be very valuable to watchers.
You just did the Instagram one. What's the next one you're doing?
Next one, we're planning to do Facebook, how to go through, it's probably going to be a 2-part video series where I'm going to look at Facebook security and then Facebook privacy on how to secure it.
And you know what's funny is I hear some experts in the field saying that Facebook is dead to our kids right now, and it's not. You know, depending upon where we go will dictate. A good example, we were just down in Washington State where Facebook was the #1 social media platform that all the students down there were on. Instagram was #2. So that's why we're still going to be doing the Facebook security and safety settings, right? Which we think is so important.
I think so too.
Yeah, for sure.
So next segment in our live show is our inbox segment.
I love this one.
And the inbox segment is essentially what we'll do. And since the last show, so a month ago, what we'll do is we will look at the questions that we received on all our social media and pick out some common ones or some really important ones that people just like yourselves have seen and want to get answers to. And I think we're going to share some of these answers with you right now.
So for people who don't want to ask us questions live online, they can send it to us during the month and then we'll talk about it right here in this show.
Yeah.
Right? Which is kind of cool. So what's the first question you got?
First question comes from, this is actually a question that I've seen on both Facebook and Instagram. And this question, which is quite popular over the last month or so.
Yeah, it has been.
Something similar to this, where I received an email that contained an old password that I used, stating that I have malware installed on my computer. It's recorded me being on some kind of porn site unless I pay $500,000 in Bitcoin. All the information about me on my computer or my device will be published online. Now, this is something that we've seen more commonly, these types of emails.
Oh, for the past couple of weeks, a couple of dozen,
Yeah,
right?
I would say so.
We've had messages, I've had phone calls, I mean, from both adults and teens over this one specific email that's making its rounds right now to say, hi, let me introduce myself, this is who I am. And I've now put this malware into your computer, which now allows me to see everything you're doing online, including sites on porn sites and stuff. And if you don't pay me $5,000 in Bitcoin into a Bitcoin account offshore, then I'm going to post this stuff online for everybody else to see, right? And I mean, very, very, very concerning. And this is a phishing attack, right? So this is your specialty. I mean, this is what you wrote your thesis on, right?
Yeah, in a way. I mean, we've seen various ones. I mean, I actually answered a question this morning where someone had messaged me asking, hey, I have received an email. Someone said they got the password to my smartphone and they're going to post all my sensitive personal information online if I don't pay them however many dollars in whatever. Is this real? Is this fake? And generally, these things are fake. And what we're seeing is we are seeing data breaches. So black hat hackers hacking into companies, big name social networks, and they're taking and stealing data of people like yourselves. And what they'll do is they will collect data, like say from an email, get an email address, and then some of these data breaches we have seen, sometimes rare, but sometimes we've seen individuals be able to steal passwords. Again, not that common. I mean, I have a RSS feed, which stands for really simple syndication. And basically what that means is I connect with so many resources online about internet and security safety that I get sent news articles, new news articles, at least 200 every single day. And at least one article I see every day is related to some kind of data breach. And with these data breaches, some of these cyber criminals, what they'll do is they will post publicly what they've stolen, or they will sell this for money.
And that's what made this one so effective, was that this latest one that went around, they used an old password that people had used in accounts that got breached a couple years ago to make them even more susceptible to this whole fraudulent phishing attack. They make them believe that it was true, right? We had a call from a teacher who received this and was very concerned about it until I shared with them what was going on, and they went from DEFCON 10 down to DEFCON 1. But I mean, we got to be aware of more of this, right, that this is going on. And so, you know, our recommendation was when you receive these types of emails, block and delete. Because if you respond to them, number one, they know that they now have a good email address and that they have a potential target that they've just hooked, right? Now they're going to reel them in. So just block and delete. So what's the next question?
Another question we've received over the last month or so has to do from Facebook. We got this question from individuals who have asked us, what are the most dangerous apps?
I get this question every parent's presentation I do, right? They come at the end and say, Darren, what are the most dangerous apps? What are the most dangerous websites for our kids to be on today? And you know, we approach it a little differently than others, and because I believe it's not the app that is dangerous, it's more what are people doing on the app, right? That makes it dangerous. And so one of the things about these apps is that apps change almost every 18 months. So what's
sooner even?
Yeah, I mean, it's just unbelievable how quickly they turn around. So, you know, trying to stay on top of this is a losing battle in our opinion. This is why we believe it's not the app, it's how the kids use the app. So, or the adults, right? So as long as you're being a good digital citizen online, then you should be okay. What do you think?
I totally agree. I mean, I love using the analogy of like a hammer. To me, when it comes to apps and technology, to me, apps and technology can be used for good, like a hammer, or they can use bad, like a hammer. There really isn't much of a difference.
Right.
It's solely based on the person who uses it. So for me, there isn't truly really a bad app. It's just some people who use it in not so desirable ways.
And this is why it's so important for parents that you understand what apps your kids are on, right? Because because you want to be able to parental participate and communicate and oversight in those apps, right? And see what's going on in those apps. I mean, there's some apps out there that you talk about, you know, you got to be careful about what you click on because you could download.
Yeah, I mean, there could be like a fake app with a virus in it that you can install for some third-party random sketchy.
Though, right?
It's very rare, and if you're downloading apps from proper app stores, you're probably never going to come across some app with a virus and that kind of stuff.
Unless it's the Android store.
Well, we're seeing some increases, some decreases, but I mean, again, if you're downloading from proper places, you're probably never really going to come across these really big issues. But
I mean, we do give a heads up on, you know, one of the ones there is one that I am concerned about, and that's Kik, right? I mean, there's no doubt that Kik is one of the more problematic platforms where, you know, there are more pedophiles on Kik than any other social network on the market. But one of the things I say to parents is that wherever kids are, both in the real world and the online world, there will be people there who want to prey upon them for whatever reason. So, but again, we believe it's not the app, it's how the kids are using the app that makes it less than desirable, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So I think that's all the questions that we had.
I think so.
So what's our next segment?
Our next segment, before we go there, again, for anyone who's watching, you can connect with us, ask a question, please subscribe, leave a question, leave a comment, message us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and we'll do our best to answer these questions live here on the show. So,
before we get going, maybe we can go here. You know, it's Halloween, and we're hoping that this presentation is going to be spooktacular.
Spooky.
Right? Yeah, spooky. One of the things I want to share with with some of the people who are following us right now, there's a really cool app on the market that I downloaded a couple of years ago, and it's called PedSafe, PEDSAFE. And what's really cool I'm thinking about Halloween night, right? Okay. And what's really cool, because all of us now have these smartphones that we're carrying, right? And so PedSafe, when you download, you can download it off the App Store on both the Apple and Android store. Yeah. What's really cool is once you click on the app and you click on it, and although it doesn't look bright here, at night it is unbelievably bright. So as you're walking around with your kids, you know, you're crossing the streets and that kind of stuff, it's kind of like having a flashlight, but it's just another way to stay visible, right, in the middle of the night. Like, smart. Beth and I used it not too long ago when we were out, and it was at night, we were crossing a busy street. I turned this thing on, face it towards traffic, and we walk across the crosswalk, and it just made us stand out. I mean, what a great app, and it's Halloween, so hey, it's free, just a kind of a PedSafe. Kind of love the app. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Our next segment we like to call right there in the news.
In the news.
In the news. So this is the segment where we're going to talk about events, news stories that are prominent, and we want to talk and share with all of you about.
Right.
So our next topic we want to talk about is actually right here. It's from CBC, and the headline reads this: "We hired ethical hackers to hack our family's smart home, and here's how it turned out."
I love this. This actually came from the CBC Marketplace, where they did a whole segment on TV about how they hired this group of white hat hackers, professional hackers, they're ethical hackers. And what they did was they traveled neighborhoods and they were looking for homes that were using smart devices, i.e. primarily cameras that people are using in the homes that you can monitor on the internet, so you can see what your dogs are doing or people doing, or people are breaking in and that kind of stuff. And how they were able to get access, right? Because it wasn't proper. So they could see everything that everybody was doing in the home. So what do you think about this?
It's just a great example and a demonstration on how one insecure product connected to all the other products in your house can be a vector for infiltration.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a great example of showing that how they were able to get into one device, which then allowed them to get into another device, and then they could do things like turn on and off light switches remotely.
And I think, the Internet of Things, because that's what we're calling it now, right? Because everything is connecting. You have TVs, fridges, cars, lights. I mean, everything. Our car connects to the Internet. It's really cool what the Internet of Things is doing, and it's making life more comfortable. But with convenience comes vulnerability, right? And some of us haven't been thinking about what some of these vulnerabilities are. And this show that CBC did on Marketplace is a really good example where it showed some of the vulnerabilities of these webcams. So what do you suggest people who are using these types of devices do?
Yeah, when it comes down to a smart technology in the home, I think the most important thing is to make sure that, one, you can change the default password. Really important. I mean, many times these devices, what happens is you bring them to the house, you install them, but you don't change the default password. Well, the default password is the same on every other device, which means someone can just log in because they know the default password. So
but you were telling me that's kind of the older technology where they had the default, but things are kind of evolving, right?
Things are changing. Companies who are making smart technology in the house are getting a lot more reasonable in how, when you install a device into your house, in most cases now with new technology, you have to change the default login password, which is good. I mean, things like California have passing laws where companies have to force you to change the default password.
I'm hoping that flows up here into Canada as well, right?
I think it will. And again, making sure your technology can remotely update. I think one of the problems with some of the older stuff is that you'd buy a smart technology, but it didn't allow you to upgrade it, to update its software. So the problem is if there's a vulnerability for some hacker to hack into it, if it doesn't get remote updates, well, then they're not going to fix the problem.
So what I just heard you say then is the best way to kind of defend yourself against what happened in this article and in this show is, number one, just make sure you change your default passwords on these devices, right? Because that is the first step of preventing people from being able to open your door remotely, turn your lights on or off remotely, or have access to your webcams that are in your home remotely, right? Yeah.
And make sure you update. You have the ability to update. Because if you could have the most complicated password in the world, but if you're not updating your technology, well, those updates have fixes.
For sure, for sure. And by the way, for those people that are just joining us, welcome to the White Hatter live feed. We appreciate you being with us here today. So what's the next story that popped up?
Next story is this one from Naked Security from Sophos, and the article reads this. Lock screen bypass already discovered for Apple iOS 12.
So what was that one all about?
Well, I see, whenever Apple releases a new update, a new iOS version, here's what always happens. There's, in most cases, always one person who is able to figure out a bypass. And what this means is, so you have your phone and you have a lock screen, right? So you have a password on your phone and do a certain particular behaviors, whatever it is, allows you to bypass the lock screen or get other information shown to you even though you don't know the password. And it's a bypass. And we've seen this lots. On every new update on Apple, there's usually, in most cases, some kind of bypass. And then they fix it afterwards.
It's a cat and mouse game, right? I mean, with industry and the hacker community, I mean, even the industry is hiring people in the hacking industry, right, hackers, to try and figure out some of these vulnerabilities so that they can patch them. And that's why downloading patches that come out every month from Apple or Android, whoever it is so important, because what they do is they plug those holes, right?
But the problem is that sometimes when you update right away, well, now it's out there, and then maybe the developer, like Apple, didn't realize there was a problem, and then you installed something that it had a problem. So I mean,
because that's one of the things that we do is before we download something right away, we kind of let it run for a little bit so that other people can try it out, right? Like
at least a couple weeks, because again, like good example, right when they released the new iOS version, right after someone figured out a way to bypass it. So I mean, just give it, and it's fixed now.
And another good example of this is just recently, Apple just came out with the whole issue around screen time and parental controls and that kind of stuff in the new iOS 12. Well, a couple of teens have figured out some of the bypasses surrounding some of those parental controls now, which we highly endorse. We think they're a good addition, right? But you know, it's like anything else. Everybody's looking for that magical digital snake oil to solve all our problems, and it's never there, right? And when it comes to this type of stuff, especially with our kids online, it's all about parental participation, communication, and parental overwatch. But you know, our kids and teens, they're playing a really cool role in helping us here too, because like it or not, they're the ones that are learning coding and trying to bypass, which we think is really cool. In fact, we encourage kids to get involved in coding because it's the way of the future. There's no doubt about it, right?
Yeah.
So,
we have a comment from, who's that from? We got,
YT, or from YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. Hey, you came to my school. Loved your presentation. Thank you for your kind words. I mean, we wouldn't be doing what we do if it wasn't for people like yourselves who appreciate what we have to share with you when we come to your schools.
Oh yeah, what we love to say is we love what we do, how we do it, and why we do it, right? For us, it's not a job. It is a passion about what it is that we do. And you know, we think that that's one of the reasons why our presentations have become so popular, because we're extremely passionate about what we do. But what's really cool, and I think it was Luke Cruz who kind of came in to say, hey, and Hannah and Grace and that kind of stuff, who are on YouTube connecting with us.
Yeah, Luke says, hi, White Hatter, loved your latest video. It really helped me. They're probably talking about the Instagram video.
That's right.
Because that's our latest video, and I'm glad it helped you. Again, I know it's a longer video, but I think I covered generally as much as I can on how to secure your account. And if you have any questions, any more questions, by all means, ask them here in the live feed. We will do our best to answer here live on our live show.
And don't forget what Brandon said, the one that he just did on Instagram, it's one of many more that we're going to be producing, that you're going to be producing actually, and putting in our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe, hit that subscribe button, and hit the little bell warning to let you know when these videos are popping up. So. right? And because by hitting that subscribe button, you help to support us doing what it is that we do and being a part of the White Hatter Nation, right? That's what we're all about. That's what we get the kids to do now, right? Is the White Hatter Nation, right? That's what it's all about. So what's the next piece of news that you have?
Next news topic is from Forbes, where they are claiming feds force subject to unlock an Apple iPhone 10 or X with their face.
Yeah, what do you think?
This is a really interesting topic because we're seeing these types of news stories happen more and more, where law enforcement are finding ways to gain access to technology in very creative methods.
And in fact, some of the courts in the United States are now agreeing that using a face or a thumbprint is no longer requires a warrant to get that done to unlock in some states. Right?
Yeah, it gets very complicated and very legalese, but essentially it's, if you're looking at your face, it's very public, right? Your fingerprint is very public, right? So when it comes to passwords, when they're up here in your head, it usually what you need.
Here's a funny story. I remember when I got my new iPhone 8 Plus. I'm probably going to upgrade, by the way. But anyways, back on topic. I was asleep in my chair, and Mom needed to get into the phone, and she couldn't get. So she actually lifted my thumb without me knowing, and she put my thumbprint on the phone. She was able to open my phone. I had no idea she did it. Like it's. There's no doubt that biometrics are extremely secure.
Oh yeah.
But the issue is now if somebody can get your thumb and put it on there, or do the iPhone 10 get your face shot, if you're in, and that's why I still like using the 6-digit password on there as well, just to help it make it a little bit more secure.
Yeah. Some people always ask me, is Face ID, is fingerprints secure? Well, it is secure if you're trying to protect yourself from some hacker, but when it comes to legal grounds on police and governments, I mean, there are some concerns for a privacy reason in terms of who can gain access to your phone and how. So I always like to say password locks are always the best.
And just remember, nothing is 100% secure, right?
Exactly.
Nothing is ever 100% secure. So
we have a question from Grace, I see right here.
Grace.
How long have you been doing White Hatter?
Well, company's been around now since about 1993, but the White Hatter and what we do as a company specific on social media, about 8 years now, about
9 years or so. Yeah.
So, but really hitting hard on going to schools probably over the past 5 to 6 years, right?
Yeah, but again, we've been doing this for a long time, teaching safety and that kind of stuff.
And loving every minute of it. And by the way, as most of you know, I retired from policing, and this is something that I do now. Brandon has already told me that he's kicking me out in 6 years. Like he wants to take over the company and that kind of stuff.
Well, you need a retirement plan.
Well, that's true. That's true. I do. I'll always still stay involved to some degree, but
I'm sure you will.
But you know what? We're hoping that this thing, is going to continue to grow. And with those who are following us, who are joining the White Hatter Nation, help us to succeed, right? Which is so cool because it's all about participation, getting young people involved in what it is that we do online. And for the new people that have just joined us on this live feed, hey, how you doing?
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Yeah. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and really support us, right? In doing what it is that we're doing. So
we have another question from Maija. What started the White Hatter?
Well, I'll tell you what started it. Him. He's what started it. I mean, when the internet, Brandon's a millennial, and when the internet and social networking first became popular, Brandon got involved into it. And as a result of that, as a parent, I wanted to know what was going on. So he became my Yoda, right? Like it or not, everything I share with people in my presentations, most of it I learned from Brandon. He was Yoda, I was his digital Padawan, right? He was the Jedi Master, I was his Padawan. And we fight back and forth now who the Jedi Master is. I must admit that Brandon is the true Jedi Master, right? But it all started because of Brandon, really. And it has really taken off and grown because of the interest and how it's a part of what it is that you guys do.
It also starts from people like yourselves who are messaging in. I mean, we would always go to presentations at schools wearing a white hat as a symbol, being a white hat hacker, and then people would call us by the White Hatter as well. So I mean, it was both our ideas, but also it came to fruition because of people much like yourselves.
Yeah. Let's go on to the next thing.
Next question is, or next thing is, welcome from Fast Company, and this one is, welcome to New Zealand. Now hand over your password, pay $5,000. Yeah,
this is an interesting one. what's interesting about this one, it's not just New Zealand, it's also the United States. It's also coming into Canada, right? Like New Zealand now, if you fly into New Zealand, in order to get into the country, you now have to produce any kind of digital device that you have. And if you don't produce it and they find it, they'll take it. But even if they do, if you don't unlock it, you get a $5,000 fine and you could be punted out and go back to the country. Same thing in the United States. Yeah. Now, why this is important, it doesn't matter if you're a teen or an adult. Let's say, because we know that sexting, some sexting up here in Canada is not legal, right? Depending upon who it is and that kind of stuff. So let's say you possess a nude on your phone and it's a legal one to possess, and then all of a sudden you're crossing into the United States. Like it or not, as soon as you cross into the United States, the US border, it's now a felony because you're in possession of child porn if it's under the age of 18. So now you risk, again, having your phone seized, potential arrest, and being turned back into Canada. So I think this is important that as we are traveling more and more around the world, that both adults and teens understand that, you know, this technology that we have, if you're taking it with you, government now has the right in certain circumstances to get that technology and have a look at it. And with that, some of the things that you have on your phone come back to haunt you.
Yeah.
Right, which is really, really, really important. So, what's the next one we had?
Oh, well, actually, a question from Grace, who asked another question. Yeah. Why do you wear a white hat?
Well, why don't you answer that one?
Yeah, well, the symbol of the white hat is actually in the internet industry. White hat hackers have been around for decades, and these are good hackers, ethical hackers, you could call them, who what their jobs are to find issues and problems with computers. And we've taken this idea of a white hat hacker, a good hacker, and have expanded it to mean a whole bunch of other good, amazing, positive things that can happen online. So that's why we wear a white hat, to symbolize that we are, in a way, white hat hackers out there to help protect people from the black hat hackers, which are the not good hackers.
Right. I get some students asking me, oh, how about a gray hatter? Right? Because, you know, white hatters, black hatters, we see these gray hatters. And to us, it's either white or black, right? Like there's no in between. If you're a gray hatter, it kind of tells me that you're still doing things that maybe you shouldn't be doing. So, I mean, being a white hatter is about being an upstander, right? You know, I kind of came from the old, I know you're a little young for this, the cowboy and Indian days and the westerns on TV, right? Where, you know, the bad guys wore black hats and good guys wore white hats and that kind of stuff. And it kind of transferred over into the digital world as well. But that's why we call ourselves white hatters, is because we're here to be upstanders. We're here to help do what it is that we do with others, which is kind of cool, right? Kind of cool.
Well, another question from Mexican Kid. American Kid, is the government watching us?
Well, here's what's interesting. A really good example of that is going into the United States. They have something that's called the Patriot Act, right? Yeah. And the Patriot Act allows them to have a look into a lot of different social media that are out there without warrant. So I think it's really important to understand that anybody and everybody that is online can watch what it is. You know, one of the things that we see in our presentation is that everything we do online, everything is public, permanent, searchable, exploitable, copyable, and for sale. So I think that's really important to understand whenever you're online saying and doing things, that anybody and everybody can see what it is that you're doing, including government, right?
Yeah. So, thank you all for the questions. Some really good questions. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy the video and the things we're talking about, please, like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Our next topic we want to talk about is this one here. And this is one that you brought up.
Yeah, deep fakes. You know, this is actually kind of scary to me, right? The technology is getting so good now that, if you just go into Google and Google deep fakes and have a look at some of the articles that are out there by some very reputable organizations like CNN and some of the others, how technology has now advanced to the point where they can take actual video of you and me right now, talking here. They can take it and they can change it to the point where they can morph anybody else's voice and mouth movement into us here on and it's kind of scary.
I think of it more as it's a more advanced version of like face swap. Good example. Yeah. Many people love face swap, right? It's that you can take a video, someone take a picture, you can swap faces to take a picture with someone else's face. But we're seeing technology getting so more advanced with that, is that you're essentially able to digitally represent and reproduce someone's face, and when you're talking, it matches.
And what's scary about this is if, a couple of the videos that they have online to demonstrate this is where they have the US president right now saying something that he's actually not saying. So watch this. Somebody, I'm thinking about how this could be used in a very nefarious and horrible way. Let's say somebody's got a fake video right now, a deep fake of the President of the United States saying something that is extremely controversial, i.e. to the North Koreans, and all of a sudden, as a result of that, the North Koreans react thinking that they're about to be attacked, so they now launch an attack. It's amazing to see how this goes, but what's even more concerning for me right now, we've seen this around the world in countries like Australia, where some people are using deep fake videos now to target other people for digital peer aggression. A good example where they'll take a porn video and they'll morph the face of their intended target into that video. So it actually looks like it's an ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend in the video, and they're using that. And it's like unbelievable. Countries like Australia now have developed a law to make sure that people who are doing this can be arrested. It's illegal. And I think it's a really good job. Australia, good for you, right? A fellow Commonwealth country who have kind of looked ahead to kind of look at ways to kind of deal with this thing and make it illegal, right?
It's like a form of impersonation, right?
It is, but it's one that, boy, oh boy, I'm thinking that this whole thing can be quickly weaponized in a really bad way. So again, one of the things that we share with adults and teens is this whole issue of fake news and understanding that when you're reading stuff and listening and watching stuff online, don't believe that what you're reading or hearing is true. Always look for multiple sources, and we got to start thinking a little bit more critically about what we're reading and seeing online, and really asking ourselves, is what we're watching or reading or listening to true, and looking for multiple sources.
Yeah.
I think we got a couple more questions.
Yeah, another question came in from Harry Potterhead. What's the point of facial ID and fingerprint ID? Well, that's convenience, right? It's far more convenient for someone to take their finger, put it on their phone, or have the phone look at their face, and then open it for you. Where if you have a password on your phone, you have to go, dun, 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 to unlock your phone. So it's faster to open.
It's faster, and like it or not, your thumbprint is specific to you. So it's very unique, which makes it very secure, unless you're sleeping in your recliner and your wife comes up and takes your thumb without you knowing and puts it on the thumbprint, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, it is because, if you've got a thumbprint on your phone, or if you got a face, if I pick up your phone, I won't be able to access it, or at least most people won't be able to access it because it is specific to you.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree. Another question came in from Jessica. Is it okay to have a 14-digit passcode, or is that too small or too big?
Oh my God, that's a good one. 14 digits, because we recommend minimum of 6 to 8.
We recommend, it's a good password, 14, but here's the thing. You got to make sure, even if it's 14 digits long, you got to make sure that it is unique. It's not a real word or a real sentence.
So what do you mean by that, unique? What do you mean?
Like have numbers, symbols, capitals and lowercase. You got to have all 4 of those components.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. A 8-digit password that has a number, a capital, a lowercase, and a symbol can be more secure than a 14-character password that's only all lowercase.
Yeah.
So that's important because it's more so the complexity than just length.
For sure. And I also know that another way that people are creating secure passwords is by creating a phrase, like "my dog has fleas," right? Where they're matching a phrase together with upper and lowercase letters to make it secure as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of a cool idea.
Another question from Luke. Critical thinking is now fading in messages, in my opinion. Great comment.
Yeah, it is. And that's the whole issue, right? The whole issue here is that just because it's online doesn't mean it's real. Like I saw an article I actually showed this in one of the presentations, where it's a news article that appeared online where Justin Trudeau, our Prime Minister in Canada, announced that he was building a wall between Canada and the United States, and he was going to get Donald Trump to pay for the wall. And you know what? Thousands of people believed the article that was read. I mean, all kinds of comments and that. Fake news. It was fake. It wasn't true. But people believed it was true. And why this is so important is that, especially if you're a young person or an older person and you're doing research online over, say, a medical issue, something that's going on that's causing you some medical concern, it is so important that you think critically about what you're reading online and looking for multiple sources because of these things called filter bubble. Now, Brian, what's a filter bubble? And why is this important for our viewers to know what a filter bubble is when it comes to searching stuff online?
Yeah, well, filter bubbles is essentially a way of customization and personalization of your online activity because companies are tracking what it is we watch, what it is we like, what it is we buy. All that data is being collected, and then when you search something online, what many organizations, companies, websites are doing is that they're looking at all your past behavior and making assumptions based on what you will likely want to watch or view next time. I mean, for example, here on YouTube, right? There's a reason why there's a suggested YouTube section when you log into YouTube. Why? Because YouTube's watching the videos you're watching and then provides you with videos that are like what you've been watching, so you will keep watching.
And Google is doing the same thing, right? And because we know
YouTube is Google.
Yeah, and that's right. And because we know that Google's the largest search engine in the world, if you're Googling something to do, say, with diabetes is a good example, or any other medical condition, they're going to be funneling that information that they think that you're going to want to see. So you may not be seeing all the information that you need to read to make an educated decision. So this is why thinking critically about what you're reading online and looking for multiple sources using maybe multiple different search engines, not just Google, but maybe Bing and Yahoo and all the other ones, is so important so that you're getting a bigger cohort, I guess is a good example, to kind of make a decision as to what is best for you, right? When you're doing stuff online. Yeah.
Which kind of goes into our next news story in a way. Our next news story, here's the headline. GM, the car manufacturer, data mining is beginning for in-cars. So basically what it's saying here is that car manufacturers who are building cars and they're implementing technology into the cars, basically the data that you put into your car, like your GPS, the songs you listen to, all that stuff, is being recorded and potentially can be sent to the company to then analyze what it is you're doing in your car to then, build more of those filter bubbles or tailor advertisements to your interests.
Right, and this is kind of like the HomePod thing that was going on, right? Like, this one kind of scares me as well. Here we are, GM was doing this without maybe letting their users know that they were doing it.
Well,
right?
They let them know, but in the very long, very legalese, very small terms of service.
And that's the issue, right? Is that a lot of this, because I believe that a lot of these companies need to start giving us what we call informed consent, where it's right out front that this is what they're going to do. But some of them are hiding this within the terms of service, which is 25 pages long of micro print, in which you need a law degree to understand this stuff, right? So, but it concerns me that, the reason they're collecting this data is because they want to sell it to third parties as a way to get another financial stream of money coming into them. I mean, one of the things they say in this article is pretty soon on those displays that all cars have right now where we can see our GPS and all, pretty soon you're going to see advertisements. And if you're talking in your car about Nike shoes is a good example, maybe all of a sudden, boof, this article for Nike might appear on the screen. I mean, it's just a way for them to get, and
it's a possibility.
It is. And I think North America is behind a little bit compared to Europe, right? Because Europe is really starting to push hard on this privacy issue, right?
Yeah.
And I think that we here in Canada, we need to, again, with convenience comes vulnerability. I mean, it's convenient to be driving in your car to go, hey, Siri, can you tell me where the nearest Starbucks is, right? And boof, they plan it for you, and boof, there you go. But these same companies are collecting that data and potentially using it. And what are they doing with it? Where is it being stored? Where is it going? And, is there informed consent? And that's what I think needs to start taking place more with some of these companies. So again, much like the HomePods, it kind of concerns me that they're recording stuff in our cars without us really knowing. And although we signed the terms of service when we bought the car, it wasn't really informed consent.
Yeah.
Right? So I think we have some more questions, right?
We do. Evan asks, Dear White Hatter team, I actually take part in Discord because I play Minecraft a lot. How do I make sure my account is secure? Should I be using it? Good question. Discord is a fantastic service that allows...
I'm going to let Brandon talk about this one.
Discord is a fantastic service that allows you to communicate and work with teammates in different games that don't allow natural game chat. And I think it's great. I think with Discord, much like any other app that exists out there, it's more importantly of understanding who you're talking to, who you're connecting with, and making sure that people you are talking with, you can actually confirm who they actually are, people who you actually know here in the real world. I think that's important because in Discord, and if you have an open Discord and you start adding people who you don't know randomly to your Discord chat. Again, what is that person seeing? What is their ultimate intentions? Again, so I think, again, Discord really secure in terms of being safe from hackers, but in terms of being critically thinking about who it is you're talking with, who you're adding into your discussions, it's being safe about that aspect of it.
Really good question that just came in on YouTube from Luke Del Cruz. He says, I usually use DuckDuckGo as a search engine. Awesome. In fact, DuckDuckGo is one of those search engines that we talk about in a couple of the other presentations that we do in the area of security and safety. And what's really cool about DuckDuckGo, it's a search engine, much like Google, but DuckDuckGo doesn't use a filter bubble. They're not kind of collecting what it is you're saying or doing and that kind of stuff. So it's really cool that way, right?
It's good. Now, are the searches as good as Google? No, they're not as good as Google, but they're getting better and better. And I think DuckDuckGo is a fantastic search engine if you really value your privacy. And I use DuckDuckGo quite a lot in searching things. It doesn't record and keep data on what it is you're searching, unlike other search engines out there.
And there's other apps that you can put on your phone and on your computers too to help kind of manage some of the things that are going on with these companies that are collecting some of that data, right?
Exactly.
Right, so for sure. So what else do we got going on here? Are we kind of reaching the end?
We're kind of reaching the end. We got about 5 minutes left in the show, and kind of so you all know, for all of you watching, we have planned a date for our next Whitehatter live show, which is November 18th at 1 o'clock, same time as this live show.
Same time, same Bat channel. For those of you who are my age with Batman, you kind of get the joke there, right?
Yeah, so again, connect with us again on YouTube Live on that day. Again, the whole idea of our YouTube Live show is to share with all of you, things that have come up over the last time since the last live show. News stories, events that we think are very valuable to people who wants to, learn things and answer questions. I mean, again, we've had some fantastic questions from all of you in the audience. Look, we have another one coming in right now. From Grace, who says, is there anything I should do to secure my phone from hackers other than camera use? Big question, really big question. I mean, that is a very complicated question. And I think to sum it up in a really quick answer, I think I will be producing a video, not soon, but again, it's on my list to produce, is how to walk through your phone and do a proper security walkthrough. So look out for that video. Again, that will be a much bigger video.
Yeah, and that's going to be at least a month or two.
At least.
So until then, if Hannah, if you want to go to our Facebook page, I actually have a video on there from somebody else who's done a really good job on the new iPhone, the iOS. There's others out there for Android as well that kind of walks you through some of the privacy and security settings. It still needs to be updated. It's a little dated, and we're going to be doing a new one with Brandon, but I think it does a pretty good job, and it should help you to kind of help you with that question, right? So please go over to our Facebook page, like the page, and follow us on the page, right? Which is really important, and then you can have a look at the video that's on there. Yeah,
send us a message and we'll send you the video. I mean, that's what we love to do.
Yeah, we can do that as well, right? For sure.
Yeah, basically, just make sure, good password, lock it down. And you talked about the camera, right? And we were mentioning in our programs, you probably heard about, is make sure there's no GPS enabled on your camera. And again, it's kind of looking through all the location settings, making sure, do you really want your Note apps to access your GPS? Probably not. So again, it's also using that critical thinking skills as well in terms of what it is you want to do. What else is there? Like example, Luke just gave a fantastic comment. Maybe checking your app permissions on your phone might help, and that's exactly what we're talking about. In that, in your phone, you want to look at the apps you're using and see and looking at, what is this app accessing on my phone? Is it accessing my GPS? Is it accessing my text messages? Can it access my contacts list? So it's sucking out all the information of who I know in my contacts list.
Luke Dela Cruz, don't know who you are, but he sent us a couple of questions. You're right on target. Like, whoever you are, I think you might have a future in the area of online privacy and security when it comes to everything digital, right? Like, so if you're a teen, I don't know if you're a teen or an adult, let us know. But if you're a teen, stick with it, dude, because I think you might have a career down the road. He's got some really good comments on it.
Very good insight on exactly that question.
Yeah, for sure. Well, this has been a spooktacular live broadcast, I think. I mean, we've had some really good comments and questions coming in from our viewers.
I agree.
I also think, that this is what's cool about what it is that we do as a company. And now that we have the White Hatter Studio here, with you doing what you've done, with Candace working in the background, who's talking in our ears. Yes, Candace, we can hear you. Which is, in fact, she's just went, woo, kind of thing, which is kind of cool, right? I mean, this is really kind of neat about what we do. But what's even cooler is how you are participating with us to make this as much interactive as we can.
Yeah.
And, the other thing, if we don't know the answer, we know somebody who does, or one of our followers like Del Caruz. He or she, don't know if it's a he or she, but they had some great comments as well.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the whole goal of I mean, this is only our second live show. Our second live show.
Wouldn't it be cool to do this once a week?
I think that's our goal. Once we get more interest, and once we figure out some of the more technical problems in terms of figuring out how to broadcast live from our studio, with there's a lot of different tech involved here.
There is, and we've got some really good ideas about maybe bringing guests in here and doing it that way and connecting with other people, right? Because there are so many other people out there that we've connected with that can really help, because it's all about coming together as a community to kind of share this message, because we love social media and the internet and everything it has to offer. It's just being able to do it in a safe and secure way.
I agree, and that's our goal, is to maybe, hopefully, it's popular enough that we will want to do this every single week. And I mean, we can't do this without all of you. So I mean, if you want us to do this every week, I mean, we need your help. I mean, please subscribe, like the video. Again, share the video. This video will be saved. This video will go live onto our YouTube page. So I mean, share it with people who you know, friends and family. I mean, again, help us grow this show of us. Be a part of the White Hatter Nation. I mean, that's the point. We want the nation to be including all of you. The White Hatter Nation. We can't do this without you. So, I mean, by all means, help us grow this channel. Like, subscribe. Thank you for those of you who already have subscribed. If you haven't, please subscribe. Press that bell notification icon. So
and this is for everybody, right? It's
everyone.
Not just for adults. It's for the teens and preteens. I mean, it's for everybody,
it is.
Right? And that's what's cool about what it is that we're doing. You got the old, you got the young, right? Coming together to kind of share his expertise in the field because of his technology and building my life experiences as an older adult and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, that's what's really, it's for everybody, right? That's what this show is all about.
That's what it is.
It is.
So again, thank you for watching. I mean, we had a blast.
We did. It's spooktacular time, right?
Spoopy.
Time, right? So from Darren, from the White Hatter team.
And Brandon, thank you for watching. And we'll see you next time in November on the 18th at 1 o'clock. So again, enjoy your afternoon, everyone. Signing off. Goodbye.
See you later.